This is my awesome cat, Trixie, who is so right now getting very large, eating well. Good. I love you, sweetie. Get down. My name is Meagan Michael I. Trixie. I'm a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. Today, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to bring to you Jennifer Rose. Jennifer is a spiritual medium, a public speaker, a teacher, a spiritual guide. She's an evidential psychic medium. She does trance healing. So we're going to ask Jennifer. She's going to tell us all about herself and everything that she does. And I want to please ask you to join me in welcoming Jennifer.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. I really appreciate getting to spend this time with all of you here tonight. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity, Meagan. Thank you. So,
my pleasure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, pretty much everything you said. I am a medium, psychic, healer, public speaker. I do spiritual teaching, workshops. I host a service. So all kinds of fun things that I do for spirit.
Awesome. Right now, I want you to know what I'm doing is we just went live. Hello, Sanob. Welcome, Bonnie. Welcome, Wanda. Let me pop this link in the comments down there. Actually, I'm going to send this link to you right here in Messenger. This is our live link. So if you want to share that, I know you have a lot of awesome people that are waiting to see this. So that's the live stream link.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of people.
Hello, Elaine Garcia. Welcome to you as well. Hi, Kim. I see my name waving at me. Kim's an awesome admin on my page. Thank you so much. Love you. All right. And when you're done sharing, you let me know, and then I will ask you some questions. But take as much time as you need. I'm going to be doing the same thing. And let me just check. We should be live on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yes, we are. I love you. All right. And when you're awesome. Well, that worked out perfectly. Getting better all the time. All right, sharing this out. Bonnie says, hello, everyone. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Bonnie. To make a Michael interview with spiritual medium. Jennifer Rose. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so all right, so you shared it, and let me just pop this into my group real fast. Probably Kim did that for me already anyway. But so the first thing I do is I'm going to ask you, the only question that I ever plan is the first question, which is, have you always been psychic? How did this whole journey start for you? Is it like, were you like a little child, like little Jennifer saying, hey, mommy, I see spirit or something like that? So I'll give that subject to you. You can bring us up to speed. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be sharing it out and listening to you at the same time.
Okay, sounds great. So as a child, I was very highly sensitive. I would say I'm kind of on the high spectrum of sensitive people. Very empathic, very caring, to the point where I noticed that people noticed. You could say that people noticed the difference, I guess. I was often told I was too sensitive, from like people from school and things like that. I did know I was intuitive, but if I spoke up about it, no one would really believe me. So I just kind of learned to keep that quiet. So I just always found myself gravitated towards anything spiritual. By the time I was a teenager, I was finding myself in like a metaphysical bookstore, looking at the crystals, looking at the books. So it was always there. As I got into my adult life, college, work, etc., I kind of put it to the side, but I still remained kind of intuitive and spiritual. I just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. And then finally, there's just that point where things switch and your soul says, okay, it's time, we're ready. And I found myself, feeling the pull stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I found myself starting to go to development workshops, and it was real scary at first, but I just kept with it and kept doing it, and then took a lot of classes and done a lot of meditating, and here I am today.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I'm still sharing, but I want to catch up with you. I want to talk about this right now. So development workshops. Okay, so here you are. You're growing up and finding yourself in metaphysical bookstores. You're always super sensitive. And then you started development workshops. There's a lot of developing mediums. There's a lot of professional mediums that watch my show as well, but also a lot of developing mediums. So let's talk about that, because I know when I first started personally, I was like nervous. I was really nervous. I don't want to get something wrong. You know what I mean? So let's talk about that for a bit. And what advice would you give other people who were just starting out on this journey, or even somewhere in the middle,
Yeah, that is a great question. So the first workshop I ended up was a James Von Prague workshop.
Cool.
And I was driving there. I was so scared. I almost turned the car around because it was such a new thing. I've never done anything like that before. But I got myself there, and I ended up having a wonderful day. And I actually got some stuff right. So that was really awesome. Yeah. And then I started going to just regular development circles with Michael Mayo, and I stuck with it. So I was very dedicated, going to as frequently as I could. I also was pursuing healing classes, Reiki, and so forth. And I was really good about doing the meditations as often as possible. And so the dedication really helps. I would say, though, it's okay to take your time. There isn't any rush. If you're young, you kind of know you have plenty of time. But if you're starting a little bit later in life, in your 30s, 40s, or whatever, you might feel like you need to catch up. And it's just, that's not so. There's plenty of time to develop, so you can take your time with it. You don't have to rush it. And sometimes if you are kind of in a hurry and you're really doing a lot of stuff energetically, then that's also going to be, how should I put this? It can speed up your spiritual awakening as well, because so that's kind of what happened for me. I had a spiritual awakening at the same time. And as I'm sure you know, not always the most pleasant process to go through, because you've got a lot of emotional energy that's coming up to be, cleared and processed, and spirits, helping you to work with that. So if you take your time, you can kind of slow that down a little bit too. So that's the good part. I really recommend finding a good teacher that you feel very, comfortable with, that has experience, that makes you feel like you're in a really safe, loving environment. So that's a beautiful thing to be able to be a part of as well. So.
Excellent. And so you said, so I wanted to ask you, what are the qualities of, you're saying that people should find a good teacher for their psychic development. Can you hear me all right? You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all. Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now? No? All right. Hold on. Okay. I typed to you.
Okay.
I asked her if she would refresh her page, but she can't hear me say that. So I put it in Facebook Messenger and here on the chat.
Do you need me to go out and back in, to leave and come back? Okay. Give me just a moment, please.
Be Live is being funky tonight. Thank you. Oh, excellent, Kim. Thank you. You are such a pro. I forgot. You remembered. I love you. Hello, Ellen Wellman and Val and Bonnie and Elaine, Sinove, Wanda, Kim Siegel. Thank you for sharing from my YouTube channel. Oh, excellent. Welcome, 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 everyone. Awesome. Yeah, she should be back in a moment. So there she is. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. No, I see. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the quick fix for this because it's happened before. That's how.
Okay. All right. Well, we are in Mercury retrograde too, so it has been a little glitchy today, I have to say so. But I'm counting on Spirit to give us a nice container of good tech vibes.
I'm pretty sure they're always here. They're in every broadcast. I'll tell you something real fast. A little aside. When in all of my, and this is quite amazing until you look at it and you can see them for yourself. On all of my broadcasts, what I'm saying around our world and beyond, right? Literally, the video slows down. It's not recorded. I don't edit this. It slows down and it looks all strange for a moment. And they've told me that's them. That's them making their presence known.
Yeah, they can definitely affect the electronics.
Very cool. So we were going to talk about teachers. So if someone's looking to develop their psychic ability or their mediumship, I think some people are even more like I feel like mediumship might feel more daunting to some people because it's a very distinct right and wrong. There's no like gray wavy lines. If you're talking to somebody's father or mother, there's going to be very specific. And you're an evidential medium, correct?
Right.
So let's talk about that specifically. What if someone wants to be an evidential medium? So what does that mean, and how do you teach that, and how do you find a good teacher?
So the goal is that we want our sitter or the receiver of the message to really feel that their person was there. And so if we can give them some facts that they can validate, they will be able to believe. But that's not enough either. We want them to really feel the love and the emotion of having their person there too. So it needs to be both. So if it's just kind of just a message with no facts, then they might find themselves doubting later. But if you have facts and the message, why they're here, what they're trying to share with you today, then you have a nice, complete, whole picture for the person. And that can really be life-changing for people. They can go from not believing to believing, or questioning to believing, or believing to knowing. And it can really change everything for them because now they've had a spiritual experience that's quite profound. And there's a lot of healing that goes with that too, because a lot of times people come in and they want to give an apology if, they didn't always behave well in their lifetimes. And that can give people closure so that they can move on and move forward. There's something very powerful about hearing, I'm sorry I messed that up, or I'm sorry I did that. Because now once they've gone to the other side, they've seen things from every perspective. So it's really important. Yeah.
So it's a responsibility on the part of the medium.
It absolutely is. It's sacred work because you're working for Spirit. And it is a big responsibility. And so we have to take that seriously, but we can't let that put so much pressure on us to get it perfect all the time either, because we are human. So we have to, Spirit isn't expecting perfection from us, but our own minds like to. So part of the developmental process of going through development is it kind of rewires the need for perfection and achievement. And we've gotten that, wired into us from childhood. And it's very big in our culture as well. And so when you go through a development process, you're wrong a lot. You're practicing with people, your mind is interfering, you lose the link. And so you're learning through development, through practice over the course of however many years you need to learn to quiet the mind and stay with the power of the Spirit. So it is a lot of work. But you also have to allow yourself to be human and allow yourself to make mistakes and be okay with that too. So there's a lot that goes into it. So it really changes who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. It all resonates so strongly.
Yeah.
So what exactly does evidential medium mean? And I know what it means, but I want to share with other people in case they haven't heard that term, evidential medium.
Right. Evidential medium just means that you're going to be providing evidence of the spirit person that you're linking into. So this could be facts about their life, personality characteristics, what their appearance is, and some things are more stronger proof than others, so to speak. So because some of the evidence is more subjective and some of it's more objective. So if you're saying I've got a grandfather here and I know that he was a plumber and I know that he died of cancer, those are all very factual things that you can validate. But you might say, oh, and he was so funny too, but maybe your sitter didn't think he was funny or know he was funny too. So you have to kind of have a balance of what kind of facts you're giving to the person. And I also call myself a spiritual medium because it's a spiritual work as well. And some people use psychic medium because we're psychic and we're medium. We're all mediums.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're also a trance medium, is that correct?
I am a trance medium too. So trance mediumship is so when we connect with our loved ones in spirit, that's called mental mediumship. So that means spirit is using the mind of the medium to give the information. So my mind has to move into a different awareness, but they also use whatever's in our memory system, in our memory and whatever we know, to find information that we'll understand so that we can give it to the receiver. So for instance, I think his name was Albert Best. He was a medium from the past, and he was a postman before he was a medium. And so they would use his knowledge of addresses in cities to give the information, and that was the kind of information he gave. So anything that we have, places we've been or names that we know, symbols, they'll use all that. So, that to choose what kind of information they give the medium to give to the receiver, to their loved one that's here. So, and everybody's got a different kind of Rolodex in their mind. So they use that. So it does have to go through the mind.
Right.
And with that kind of mediumship, we're kind of in two places at once, because we're with the spirit, but then we have to relay the information, and we're with the spirit and we have to relay the information. So it's probably one of the more challenging of all forms of mediumship. With trance mediumship, it's also mental mediumship, because a guide usually is blending with the medium and giving messages of philosophy. Sometimes loved ones will blend with the medium and speak directly as if it were the loved one speaking directly to you. Most of the times it's guides. And this can take several years to development. So it's not something I'm doing professionally as far as the speaking part goes. I'm also a trance healer, which means that spirit works with you in a healing capacity. So that I do have that well developed enough to offer that to the public as a service. But I am still working on my trance speaking until once I feel like I've developed that enough, then I'll put that out there.
So come back on my show and do that.
Yeah, exactly. So those are both under the category of mental mediumship, but they are different. And so with a trance medium or trance speaker, the spirit's coming closer. So it almost feels like they're giving you a big hug. Whereas, the spirit person is still close, but not quite that close. If that helps to give a simplistic.
It does. Because I have my own information, and I'm processing. I'm like, I'm grabbing stuff to go to the next question. At the same time, I'm like absorbing this. I'm like, oh yeah, new information here. I love it.
It's so fun. It really is. It's so fun.
Isn't it amazing? Oh my God.
It is. If it looks cool and fun, it really is. But it's also very, it's, like you said, it's also sacred work, and it's a job of responsibility too. So yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I know from personally, before I give a reading, or maybe before I give a show, I've meditated. I've done certain things. I have certain things in place to make sure that I'm, even with my coaching and everything, I have to make sure that I'm connected with spirit, you know, and yeah, I don't feel like, you know, do the gardening, and I don't really do gardening, but I'm just an example. Like, I live in an apartment, but I run inside and like, oh, hi, I'm going to read for you now. You know what I mean? It isn't like that.
Right.
It's like that. It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
I like saying it's sacred work.
It really is. Yeah. And I feel honored and blessed to be able to do it. And so I even get a little emotional saying that, because, you know, before I do a reading or before I do a healing, you know, I'm always thanking spirit for the opportunity, because I know that they've chosen me, you know, they've chosen me to give the message to their loved one that's still here, and they've made it all happen. So they've, you know, they've guided that loved one to find me, to give them that message. And so that's a big deal. And so I want to do my best for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about boundaries? This is coming up, so it's got to be boundaries. Like the spirit come to you in your sleep or when you're in the shower and say, here's a message for somebody, or have you set boundaries with them saying hello only when I'm working? So I know everybody's different. I want to know how you do this.
Yeah. I really don't have that problem. I set that intention a long time ago, that I really just like having my own loved ones and my own guides with me, and, you know, in my home. So that's not really an issue. I really wouldn't mind if a loved one of somebody, you know, came to say hi real quick before a reading. That wouldn't really bother me at all. But honestly,
timing is everything.
Yeah, honestly, spirits that have crossed over, they like to visit their people. So they don't have a desire to visit other people. Even though I'm a medium, they're spending their time visiting their own family and friends and watching over them. They're quite busy, you know, doing their own life there and then watching over everybody here. So their spirit's very respectful. They're very graceful and they're very respectful. So, you know, I've sat in many circles, and we set timers for when we want to finish something, and on the dot they finish. It's just, that's how respectful they are. So
it really is about boundaries, though, because you set the boundaries. Like because I have spoken to other people where they're like, oh, spirit comes to me all the time. And we put time in spirit.
Right.
You know? So I like what you're saying. I mean, it's dry. There's no, you know what I mean? They only come to you when you're working, and that's because
right.
Attention.
And most of the time, if people are sensing spirits in their house, they're sensing their own loved ones in their house. They're, you know, people they know who have passed too. And that may be different for mediums. That may be different for psychics and mediums, which I think is what you're speaking. But for a regular person who's not doing spiritual work, if they're sensing that they have spirit in their house, it's probably their grandma, honestly. So they don't need to worry. Yeah. So
thank you for that. We have a question here from Mystical Gypsy. Hello, Debbie. She's saying, I had a spirit go into my body to give someone a message, and it was weird. I guess not a question. All right. I know Debbie, the whole psychic thing too. So I know that's, so she's one of us. Spirit told me when I first started out, I just want to share this with you. They told me when I first started out with High Vibrational Mastery, and they gave me the name and they gave me the whole thing. And they said, you're going to be preaching to the choir. That's the expression they use, preaching to the choir. So I'm talking to other psychics and mediums and stuff like that. Like you're the other psychic. Oh, it's another thing. First, I want to read Michelle saying, love the explanation of boundaries. Spirit is always respectful.
Indeed. Thank you. And I'm just going to offer this for my friend Mystical Gypsy too. I've learned it, and I'm happy to be wrong about this, but as I've learned it, spirit doesn't go into our body, but it can certainly feel that way because they blend so closely. So, you know, it could have been a very trancey, strong blending experience. So that's as I've learned it, but I'm always respectful of what everybody else, you know, feels is true for themselves. So I just want to throw that out there.
Well said. Well said. And it's my because I study trance as well, and it's my understanding that they blend, and that's what I feel. I love that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's great.
Like trance and all, or do you feel that amazing? Oh my God, they're here, they're hugging me, and it's amazing. It's like my favorite feeling.
It is. It feels so good because their vibration is so high. Yeah. It will feel very strong when they're blending with you, and so that takes time to get used to, and they do try to slowly get you used to that. But it has a very strong feeling to it, and that can feel very strange in the beginning. So just take it slow. But after you've blended with spirit and spent time doing that, you feel like you've been to a spa, because their vibration is so high. They've kind of cleared your aura for you and everything. And you're just like, oh, I just feel like I took a beautiful bubble bath.
Exactly.
It's great. Yeah.
It's amazing. But I know what I respect. I know what you're saying about when I first, okay, I haven't been doing this that long, about a year. So it's not compared to most trance mediums. I'm just brand new. But so about a year ago, when I first started, I was the strongest blending I had. I thought I was going to vomit. I got so nauseous. I had to come out of trance. And first I asked them to back up, please, because I was aware that could happen. And I was almost, but anyway, so that was a situation that I later learned, that can happen. That can happen.
They're not always aware. They're not always aware maybe of how strong the energy is feeling for you. So that's why the perfect thing to do is say, this is too strong. Please back it up a little bit. Yes. And that kind of nauseous stomach feeling is your solar plexus is really getting engaged in that process. So that's one of the reasons, and you get used to it too. So yeah.
I haven't been nauseous since. That was the only time, but it was fascinating. It was a very validating experience for me in the very early days, saying something's going on here. You know what I mean?
I know, it's magical. It really is magical. It's like magic is real, and that's spirit. That's what's so beautiful about it. And it's like, to get to be part of their world is such a gift, and it's so wonderful. And to get to feel, your spirit guide that close to you, because they love you so much, and you can just get flooded with bubbles of love, and it feels so good. It's so unconditional, and it's just a beautiful experience. Yeah,
100%. Gosh, there's so many things I want to ask you. But I want to definitely ask you about right now I want to ask you about your Saturday night events, your Saturday night bi-weekly spiritual service events. I have not attended one. I would love to attend one, but I've seen you advertise them, and you put up these beautiful promos, which of course I do my own graphics, so I admire your work as well. And I host my own events too, so I'm looking forward to seeing yours sometime. But tell us about these beautiful events that you host and what people can expect to see.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I originally started doing them live because in a actual physical location. And then when the COVID thing hit, I kind of waited to see what was going to happen. And Spirit's like, no, you need to get this online on Zoom. And so I learned how to do Zoom, and it all came together pretty easily, I must say. So it's a non-denominational service, but it's modeled after a service you might see in a spiritualist church. Which means that it includes mediumship and healing. That's the kind of the difference between a spiritualist church and maybe another spiritual denomination. And so every service we have a different guest speaker that talks about healing or giving an inspired message from spirit, different spiritual topics. So it's really fun that we get to see somebody new. And we have 2 mediums that come on each service, and they change every service too. So we get to see how lots of different mediums work, because they're all different, and it's really fun. It's really fun to see how all the different mediums work. And we also have musicians that play live. They play a couple songs live, and we end it with a group healing for the group with the last song. So we create a really beautiful, loving vibration. And that's kind of one of my goals. I want to give people kind of a place where they can kind of escape the outside stuff that's going on and reconnect with their spirit. And I want to celebrate all of the spiritual, light workers, mediums, and speakers are doing, and give them a chance, an opportunity to share their gift with everybody. And I really hope people will feel spirit, to get touched by the spirit. So whether it's during the mediumship, whether it's during the music or the speaker, whatever, that they will feel like, I felt spirit close to me tonight, and they can take that with them. So, yeah.
Oh, what you're saying resonates with me so much. There's been telling me to put together more events and I've been thinking, and I've been drawn to different musicians, and oh man, this is good. This is good stuff. This is great. Oh my God, I love that you're doing this, because you know how like a lot of times Spirit gives a lot of people the same downloads, and they, like you said, they downloaded it to use Zoom. And do you know Zoom has a new thing called On Zoom? Did you see that?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I applied to be a host. I don't know what that. I didn't even know it was an application. I thought I was just saying, "Oh, let me try this." Apparently, I applied. I literally wound up typing out I felt like I was in grade school again, typing out a resume to be in the AV squad. I'm like, I would like to be an on Zoom host because I would love it. It looks really cool. It kind of looks like what we're talking, because we've both done kind of similar things with events, but there's going to be different features. Like, I don't know. You'll have to check it out. But anyway, I told you about it.
That sounds great. Oh, it must be for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. There's a reason. I told you about it. There's a reason. Now, what about, we still have more time left, but let's just talk about your workshops. Because I know you offer these mastering your energy workshops. And what can people expect to learn in these workshops? And also, what do you teach even without a workshop? Somebody
right. So all of the different areas that I've done intuition workshops, where we do, psychic and mediumistic classes, spiritual type of workshops where we talk about awakening and transformation and dark night of the soul, all those kinds of things. My mastering your energy workshop, I just finished one, and I'm going to be doing another one soon within the next couple of weeks. If you find yourself that you're an empath or a healer or a spiritual worker, it's definitely for you, but it's for anybody who's wanting to understand energy. So we go very in depth with it. But if you consider yourself an empath and you're having struggle understanding your energy, or feeling fearful of outside energies, we really work to change how we perceive energy. And so there's a lot of information about what's happening with energy, and how you can interact with people that may have difficult energy, how to go into a space that you're feeling apprehensive about, how to clear, how to, all of these good steps, how to make your energy stronger. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback out of it, that people feel very empowered. So instead of feeling like their gift of sensitivity is a curse or a hindrance, they feel empowered, because now they know they've got, extra information that maybe not everybody has access to, because being sensitive means that you're perceiving more, extrasensory information, and you can use that to help guide your life, and you can use that to hold space for people, and it will make you, a better healer, a better psychic, whatever you want to be. Even in just everyday life, if you've got a regular job that's not spiritual, it still will help you, because you can learn, you learn to intuit what people need and how to navigate your life. So
that's brilliant. I love what you're saying. It makes so much sense, because so many of us, if not all of us that are watching right now, the majority, if we didn't know we were psychic as children, which I did not, I had no clue. I didn't know one until I was like 50, I swear. But it was a long time. But I was super sensitive, like you were super sensitive. And I'm sure most of these people, one of our beautiful viewers, you guys, were also super sensitive. And that sometimes plays out. We choose, remember, we choose or create our own reality, but sometimes plays out like in school with being picked on, or being different, or all those things. And so you're taking the adults, or not taking them, but they're you're teaching the adults who are drawn to take these classes on how to use their sensitivity to empower themselves.
Exactly.
So to remove, let go of the whole victim thing here. You have control.
Exactly. So you need to learn. Yeah, you need to learn to feel your own energy and discern your energy from outside energies. And energy is just information. It's not something that you need to fear. It's not something that, and that's where the tricky part gets in, and making you rethink how energy works. So you don't need to hide away from the world. You just need to learn to understand what's happening, and then you can make your choices and your intentions from there.
Oh, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's really powerful what you just said. There's two things I wrote down that I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
One, you mentioned an I don't remember the exact words. I wrote down the word difficult. Like I guess something interacting with people or something like that are difficult. And I wanted to, let's start there. So how do you define difficult person, and how do you, just an overview of how you would teach someone to deal with challenging energies?
Right. Okay. So some people, most people are not conscious of what they're doing with their energy. So there's pushing and there's pulling and all kinds of things happening all the time with people. And sometimes we may feel that energy's been stolen from us, or projected at us. And sometimes maybe it has, and maybe it hasn't. It's just because how we're perceiving it is not necessarily how it is. So, but if you were to be interacting with a person who was particularly aggressive with their energy, so they would be kind of pushing it onto you, wanting to force you to do something or force you to believe what you do, or they're in a state where they're trying to get something from you. So they're very much pulling on your energy. They're trying to get you to do something, or kind of in a manipulative sort of way. Or sometimes people are just depleted and they're needy. And so we don't want to judge any of this as right or wrong, because people don't know they're doing it. They just don't know. They're not aware of their behavior and the bigger thing of it. So the important thing is not to contract your own energy when this happens. So when people feel uncomfortable, what they do is they pull their energy in because they get scared. And you've actually now taken all of your space away from you. Your aura is your natural kind of protection for you, right? So you want to keep your energy out, and stay in your body and just stay, really grounded within yourself. You always have choices if you need to leave or exit, that conversation or that situation. But if you stay grounded within your body and you keep your energy field out, and you can stay in your own sort of higher vibration, they can't get to you. They can't, because you've already set that intention. It's also very important that as empaths, we have learned to kind of reach out and take energy in. So we do a lot of feeling. We feel. And so that means we're feeling out. So we're sending our energy out and getting information, and then kind of tapping into it and then bringing it in. So children may have, at a young age, may have learned that if they reach out and take that energy from that other person, it may have made their life better or easier, because that other person has now calmed down, so they feel safer in that environment. So we grow up with this habit of reaching out and taking it. We don't even know we're doing it. We don't even know. It's just a habit of trying to make our atmosphere and the people around us calmer so that we feel better. And then we're just like, what just happened? And we may think the other person did it to us, right? So we have to kind of learn to not do that so much, to set our intentions. It's not our job to fix people. It's not our job to take other people's energy for them. They may feel great afterwards, but as one of my teachers told me, it's not our job. We don't take a trash bag everywhere you go. This is a no nonsense way of looking at it, right?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Stay in your own energy. It's one thing to be a transmuter and a filter kind of thing. It's another thing to collect it and keep it and take it with you. That's not our job. That's their life and their responsibility to deal with their own problems. We can hold space for them. We can send love to them. If we stay in our heart space, then we're creating kind of a bubble of love and a container, because that person still may need something. It's not that we need to cut off from them, but it's responsibility and good management of our own energy. The more we manage our own energy and stay empowered within ourselves, there's more energy we're going to have. And then we have an overflow to give to other people. So we don't give from the reserves, we give from the extra, right? So all of the nice self, right? Exactly. So we take care of ourselves, lots of self-care, right? We do our meditation because that really fills up the bucket much quicker, working with spirit that way. And we set intentions. We set intentions. So if we're going to be going into, a big store and we know that we've been there before and it made us feel icky. So what do we want to do when we want to go over there? We want to maybe not turn on our little information receptors so high. We tone it down. We say we're going to go in there and it says, I really don't need to perceive all of the information in that place. I know I'm going to be safe in there. I'm going to go in there, do my shopping and come out, and if you did collect a little something, you can always clear it. You're never stuck with anything. It's just energy. So
this is such great
yeah.
information. I know it's resonating with a lot of people. I want to ask a couple of things. One, every time you're talking, you're bringing up so many great things.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you 2 words, and I want you to explain however you understand this, because I feel like we can all learn from this. Psychic vampire. Psychic vampire.
I don't use that term because it's kind of a negative and judgmental, I guess. And I know other people use that term, but if I just offer a reframe, and it's up to whoever wants to. I like to offer. I don't want to tell people to believe what I believe. So I just offer another way of looking at it. Everybody has pulled energy at some time in their life. If we are going through something very difficult or a depression, we can be empaths and we can get so depleted and we're not taking care of ourselves that we become pullers too. So everybody's done it. It basically means that person is needy, and it means they don't know how to manage their own energy as well. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to be the recipient of that, but if you're keeping your field out the way it's supposed to be and setting that intention that your energy is your energy and their energy is their energy, they're not going to be able to really do that. It's not that we want to cut people off. It's that we're creating a vibration that's higher, and that nothing that's coming from the outside can really impact that, if that makes sense. There are people who are habitually poly, I guess you could say. But we do have to have some compassionate understanding that they don't really understand that they're doing it. So then we have to find creative ways, because these might be people that we know in our everyday lives, and we might have to find, creative ways to manage those relationships, right? But it isn't our job to always keep fixing people. We don't want to go into a codependent habit and feeling sorry for people and those kinds of things. Because somebody who could be really poly, but someone maybe have just died in their life, we could send them love. We could send them love, or we could say a prayer for them, ask for their angels to come and be around them. We don't have to be the source of their energy, but we can say a prayer that maybe their guides and angels come closer and help them. And we try to do it all for the highest good, because we have to be, as you probably are the same, we don't want to manipulate energy in any way. So we don't necessarily want to be sending energy to people without their permission, even if we feel like they're pulling it. But we could say we could say something like, maybe, to our guides, maybe their guides can help them get some energy in that way. So, or we could even, ask permission from them. Could I send you some healing later? And then it's done with permission. It's an agreement.
I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's so profoundly important, because there's some of us that are like, well, we just cut everybody off now that we know how to do that, because we got stuck to drive, most of our life, because we had no clue. I was one of those. Right. And then a lot of people that are like, oh no, just keep taking, because all these people, the poor things, they just need this. Right. And so in the meantime, that person's shriveling up and dying, not really, but you know what I'm saying? Inside, they're like, and they're sick, they've got illnesses and everything, because they just keep giving and giving, and they're trying to give from an empty cup.
It's true. You have to keep your cup full and take care of you first. Yep. And if we're going to look at the people who are highly advanced spiritually in the world, they have big open hearts, and their fields are big, but their fields are also open. And they're not, so they know that they always have access to energy. So they're not, fearful of it. They know they can always replenish energy. And when you keep a nice kind of open field, things are just kind of moving in and out. Right now, our interaction is very open. We're just giving and receiving and giving, and it's very beautiful and open, and that's very lovely. So, but in our day-to-day interactions, we may have to work up to that. So we do these kinds of things, but maybe we being open all the time isn't appropriate until we get to a certain level, of where we're understanding our own energy, in a better way. But that's the goal. That's the goal, is to get to where you're open and so full of love. Because if you've ever had those days where, you just feel so wonderful inside, maybe something's occurred and your heart chakra popped open from that, like really big and wide. And that like wherever you go and whatever you do, nothing can affect you because you're in that state of love, right?
Yeah.
If you're in such a high vibration, nothing can hurt you and nothing can get you. And so that's kind of a great way to want to get there, to where we're that way more often, but we are human. So we work towards it. And if we make a mistake or we fall back, that's okay. We just pick it up again.
Awesome. We have a few questions. This is a great time. Or can you spend another half hour? Do you have time?
Sure, yeah, of course.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Sometimes I don't. I hardly ever ask my guests. We just flow with it. But I just wanted to check and make sure you don't have an appointment or something. All right, yes. Awesome. Because I didn't mean I don't ask. I meant I don't ask ahead of time. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm not trying to say I'm rude. I'm not like that. All right. So we have the first question from Sanov saying, I was told to call my energy back, but I don't understand how. Any advice?
Okay. Let me just think on that for a moment. So here's the thing. The energy that may have gone out, is that necessarily the energy that you want back? We don't know what that looks like right now, right? And some people say send the energy back to the person who sent it to you, those kinds of things. You can always go into meditation and fill up your energy that way. So if you want to just call it back, you can call it back. But I think you would have an easier time just spending some time, in meditation. I like to do what a lot of psychics, mediums, healers do, called sit in the power. And that's very replenishing. You can look that up on YouTube for sitting in the power videos. And that way you're really feeling, anything self-care you do is filling back up your energy, exercising, eating healthy, taking your vitamins, breathing is so great. You can do central channel breathing, and that's going to totally re-energize you, keeping your, there's all these ways to fill up your bucket. And if you feel like you may have received something from somebody else, you can just send it to the light. You can ground it. And the earth will transmute it for you. You can ask your guides to help you clear it. You're never stuck with anything. You can always just let it go. If it's not mine, let it go. I ask the earth to transmute it for me. I send it to the light. My energy is mine. So I hope that helps.
Oh, that's an awesome answer.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying tonight so resonates with my soul. See, spirit always, I'm telling you, they call me, they're like, they call me on the phone. No, they just say, like, I get really excited over somebody. I'll be like, looking at their name or something. I'll be like, oh my God, I want to invite you to my show. And I'm like, oh, that's spirit. I know what spirit feels like. And that's before I usually check out your work or anything else. I don't even have to. You know what I mean? I just know. And I like to kind of like leave it kind of open so that I learn everything here. So while we're live, same time everybody else does. I'm just so honored that you're here, and I'm really glad. You're amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, if I had more thumbs, I'd give you those too.
Thank you.
So we have another lovely question from Wanda Quast-Price. She's asking, she goes, how do you clear yourself with sage, and should you clear yourself before you meditate?
Oh, okay. Good question. I'm not a big sage user. I'm not against it, but I'm not particularly fond of the smell and the smoke and that kind of thing. So if you like that, makes you happy, you can go ahead and do that too. You can do what's called like showers of white or clear golden light, and you can imagine it just like pouring down and flooding your aura and flooding your physical body and just moving down into the earth to be transmuted. Sometimes you can even just kind of brush off your skin like this, you know, and do those kinds of things. The violet flame, I've used that before. That just showed up for me in meditation. Wasn't something I really believed in that much before, and then it just showed up, and I was like, oh, that's a real thing. Okay.
Violet flame.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So it's just basically purple energy, and that energy helps to transmute anything of like a lower vibration to a higher vibration. What you can also do, meditation is great. Running your energy is really good too. So with that, you might be running earth energy up your feet and your torso, your arms, your head out the top of your chakra. And then you're bringing in the cosmic energy down the opposite way, down into the ground. You do kind of do that back and forth. Central channel breathing, where you have a channel that goes like from the top of your head, like a tube or a straw at your root chakra. You can breathe up and down that. That's very clearing. Thinking happy thoughts, listening to beautiful music, connecting with spirit, smelling a rose, anything that puts you in feeling love and appreciation, that makes you feel so good inside when you think about this, even the little tiny things that you're happy for. All of those things are going to raise your vibration and change your energy in a positive way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I personally do like sage.
Yeah.
I use it on my live streams and stuff. I've got my Palo Santo over there and my big smudge stick. But you know what? It's not always convenient either. If you're out in public or something, and I'm probably not carrying around a big bundle of sage. So everything that you just said is so enlightening. Great stuff. And the central channel thing, I'm literally trying that as you're sitting there talking about it. I'm like, I've never tried that before.
I learned that from, I think her name is Dr. Sue Morton, and she's got a book called The Energy Codes. And I just kind of stumbled upon her. And I tried it and I really liked it. I really, really liked it. And it's gets you very in touch with your body, because a lot of us, if we're light workers or we're sensitive, we can be kind of a little bit up in the higher realm sometimes. And so we need to be grounded too. Grounding is really important. And we also live in a culture that's very mentally focused. And so we're constantly in our thoughts. We've got to get that energy kind of down into the body where all the chakras are balanced. We're grounded and connected. The earth keeps us safe. The earth feeds us. So we don't need to be, scared of being here in this world, because we want to live our lives. We want to live beautiful, happy lives where we create things. And if we're not fully here and present, then it impacts the people that care about us. It impacts what we're able to get done. And impacts how we can make our dreams come true. So we've got to be here. We really do.
Absolutely. Everything you're saying. Wow. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
I've run into a few people in my life that I have felt the evilness, soulless in their eyes and energy, and they have zoned in on me. So I'm going to speak.
Okay. I don't believe in evil, but I do know that people can have maybe a lot of programming and negative experiences in their life that will create a personality that isn't very kind. I'll put it that way. I'll put it in kind of a nice way. So what I would suggest with people like that is not making eye contact. So that is important, because especially for us women here on the group, well, even men too. If there was somebody who was maybe trying to make eyes at you, let's say, you're in the coffee shop trying to mind your own business and there's somebody kind of staring at you and you don't want that kind of attention. You don't want to make eye contact with them, because that way you're keeping your energy separate from them. If that kind of helps. Yeah. So because people can be controlling with kind of like their third eye chakra in their eyes. It's not that they really understand they're doing it, but they can do it. So I hope that helps.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, John Thaddeus Fiore. Great to see you. He goes, listening as I drive. Hi, kids. John. And let's see. And Mystical Gypsy is saying you can use smudge spray to clear yourself. I clear myself when I meditate. Yes, spray is great too. Val is saying this talk makes me want to go meditate right now. Run to my closet, shut the door, and check out.
Go Spirit. We always say go Spirit because we're like cheerleaders. My tribe, we're like cheerleaders of the spirit world. So we're always like, go Spirit.
I love it. I'm in. So we'll just turn off the broadcast. We'll just go meditate right now. Oh, I love it. And Bella Noella, what a great name. Bella Noella says, with an influx of more light to Earth cosmos at this time, does the new energy effect change our energy work? And what are the new processes?
Okay, with the influx of more light to Earth cosmos, does this new energy affect or change our energy work? Okay, I'm trying to understand what she means by that.
It's my understanding that in this new energy, we have a lot more light flowing. That's how I know this as well. I'm trying to understand what the question is. Does the new energy affect or change our work? So I guess that I feel like and you can clarify that. That would be great, Bella. Why don't we, instead of me trying to interpret it, why don't I let you describe this? And in the comments,
I'll try my. So what I've gotten from Spirit, they kind of put things in very sort of the guides that I have, or they put things in very practical, kind of simple ways. Is we are kind of entering a new era, and there are a lot more people that have been born that have energetic systems that are a little bit different from how many we're used to. So you could say more light workers being born, right? That have been so. And we are helping to facilitate moving into the new era, into the new change that we're going into, because of our energetic capacities to help raise the frequency and transmute the energy. Okay. And so by doing that, so yes, there are a lot of high frequencies that are coming in now. So, but what we want to do is just make sure we're always grounding properly and taking good care of ourselves. It can be a little bit challenging for some people because their nervous system has to adapt to kind of the changing energies and changing frequencies. So the number one thing is to ground, because if you have excess, you might feel like you're going crazy, or you're having a lot of excessive thinking, you can't sleep, and you don't know what to do with all that. You're kind of like on overdrive. So you need to do grounding on a regular basis, like every day. It's one of the most important things. And that's going to help you get rid of the excess of that, because all things evolve. I would think energy changes too. Yes. And so we're helping to affect the people around us. And we don't do that in a manipulative way. Like we don't say, oh, I'm going to go in and raise all the vibrations of that group of people. You go in there shining your light. You go in there being in your body and being in your own power. And that just automatically radiates around you and helps to raise the vibration around you. And anybody who's connected to you, your family, your friends, right? They're going to get healing as you heal your own self, not because you've purposely done it, just because we're all connected. So that's what's so beautiful. So if you're just taking good care of yourself and you're being loving and kind and keeping connected to your heart, you're already doing so much to help the planet and to help people. It's so true. And it seems like, shouldn't I be doing more? Well, if you're called to do it and you have the energy and the time to do it, sure. right? But if this is what you're able to do, that's a lot.
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
I love everything you just said. Spirit often shows me the lighthouse. We are the lighthouse. The lighthouse doesn't like reach out and move the boats and reposition them. The light shines their light. You know what I'm saying? It shines their light. And if people are drawn to the light, then they're gonna navigate the way.
Yeah, I love it. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Can't take credit, but I can take credit to receiving it.
I love the lighthouse. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. And let's see, Mystical Gypsy says, once your light gets brighter, it could be upgrades from downloads you got. I'm high frequency. And
that's awesome.
And Elaine Garcia says, beautifully said.
Love it. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you something that you had mentioned before about discerning. And this, I'm going back a little ways here, but I want to, but I'd love for you to address this. So how does one discern their own energy from the energy of someone else? How do they know it's theirs? I think a lot of people find themselves in anxiety, a depression, anger, all kinds of different emotions that if they would just stop and think, was I like that a little while ago? Why am I feeling this way? Or even if they ask, why am I feeling this way? Sometimes they just say, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. So how do you know when you're picking up somebody's energy, and what is yours, what is theirs? How do you discern?
Okay. So there may be times where you think you have picked up someone's energy, and maybe you have, and maybe you haven't. Maybe that person has triggered something inside of you that, you know, and that wants to maybe come up to be looked at, or, you know, have some, you know, inner work and exploration done. What I have really found is meditation, specifically sitting in the power, has helped me so much, because when I started doing that, I could start to feel me, and then I could start to feel more of me. So first I could feel a little bit of the space around me, and then I could feel a lot of the space around me. So that makes a big difference. There's a lot of different exercises that we can learn and do also as well. So if that's something that interests you, my workshop might be for you. Just, you know, to put that out there too. People who exercise a lot and get a lot of physical activity, they have very good body spatial awareness. So if you have opportunities to exercise, I think you do Tai Chi or Qi Gong, right?
Yeah, Tai Chi, yes.
Yeah. So that
Qigong,
I'm sure that helps you feel your energy and learn to, right?
Huge.
Exactly.
It takes it back in my body too, which is something that I was getting all out of my body and liking it there, but it's important to actually be able to, I love what you're saying. Yeah.
Doing grounding work is going to help you feel your body again. It's going to help you increase your energy too, because understand that our energetic system, the core of it, is in your body, your chakras, your central channel, and all of that. So if all of our energy is out here going to all of these situations and everything, that's a lot of output and not a lot of input. So once we bring our focus, you know, back to our core, and, you know, even spend some time just focusing, find a spot on your body and focus on that, you'll feel a difference too. Yeah. So we're going to bring some of it back in and back grounded again. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, very much. Thank you very much. And Mystical Gypsy is saying, bubble up, because us empaths do pick up someone's energy. Hi, Diane Allison Beyersdorfer. Are you the birthday girl? Hello, welcome. And hi, Colleen. Glad to see you too. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, the bubble up, I don't know if it's a common thing. I know I learned it from Rebecca McCain, actually, when she was on my show. And I love doing that. I really do. The bubble, you're talking about the bubble, we're inside and just expand it out. And are you familiar with this technique?
Yeah, that's kind of what sitting in the power kind of is you're expanding your energy from the inside out. I'm not sure if she's talking about like protective bubble. So those are two different things.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Understand that if you do pick up energy, it doesn't mean you're stuck with it. You can always clear, you can always ground, you can sage. So there's all of these techniques available to you. For a beginner, like a protective bubble might be very useful and very helpful, but I just feel like we don't want to necessarily rely on that for the long term. We want to feel that we can affect the space, not the space affecting us. So, and what I mean by that is we're bringing in positivity, we're bringing in confidence, we're bringing in peace and calmness and groundness. And so that radiates out from us. And then people are like, oh, that feels so good to be around that person, you know, versus the other way around. So that's just my personal view.
Yep, totally resonates. Thank you for that. I want to say hi, Max. I see you, Max from Paris. I see you there, Mr. Terry. And Clayne says, thank you for inviting me. Hi, beautiful ladies. Hello, hello. So, oh my gosh, so you're amazing. So I guess our time is running out, but so do you have any classes coming up soon?
Yeah, I will be teaching the energy workshop within a couple weeks. I don't have the date set. It's probably going to be like on a Wednesday evening. And then I've got my services coming up as well. I've got one next Saturday night and every 2 weeks from there as well. I would love to give a kind of a message from Spirit, if that's okay.
Absolutely, 1000%. Please. Let me give you the main screen here.
Okay.
That wasn't the way I intended. There we go.
Okay. So this is going to sound simple, but it's not necessarily easy for all of us to do. So I've got some very clear, I guess, of what Spirit would like for us to strive for. And they're wanting us to love other people, even if they have different opinions from us. That's a hard one. I know it is. But we don't know what their story is. And maybe their soul wants them having that experience at this time. You know, we don't know what's happened from them in their childhood. And we don't ourselves have all of the information either. We're all receiving small amounts of information and we don't have the entire, you know, book of facts on any topic. And so they're really asking us to love people, even if we don't agree with them. It doesn't mean we have to agree with them, but we can love the soul, not the personality, right? We can love people. And that's really a catalyst of evolution, you know, of moving forward. If we're really wanting to move forward into this kind of new era of more positivity, they're saying we need that. They're saying we need to keep hope alive. They talked about hope like really adamantly, because that's another very forward moving energy. Because I'm guessing some people have gotten very disgruntled and they've kind of lost that hope, feeling kind of like there's nothing we can do, all is lost. That's not true. Hope is what keeps us moving forward. So if we're wanting that, if we're wanting change, positive change, we need to keep that alive within us as much as possible. They also said to pray for peace. And what I think they mean by this is we have a lot of things that we all want to happen, and we think that it should look a certain way. But if we pray for peace, we're praying for the highest good of all. And we have free will as people for some of the choices that we make to a certain degree. If we're using free will, but we're going kind of against the plan, our soul's going to redirect us. We all know that, right? First it's a whisper, then it's a nudge, then it's a wall, right?
Yes.
But with some of the bigger events, spirit is involved with some of that, and we don't always know the higher picture. So sometimes out of things that we perceive as wrong or bad, there's gifts that can come out of that in the end, and we don't see it till later. There's a certain amount of trust in the universe, trust in God, trust in spirit, however you want to look at that. And so I hope that this is helpful, because I know these things aren't easy to do sometimes, because we have become very separated and polarized. But we don't have to agree with people or like what they're saying or doing, but we can still love the soul that's within them too, right? And that's very healing. That's very powerful. And like I said, if we are really wanting to facilitate this positive change, we've got to move forward in that direction. when we can stay in a more neutral space where we know that sort of a higher perspective, we know everybody's learning, everybody's on a path, everybody's on a journey, everybody has their own unique story to tell. And so when we can kind of see that from this broader perspective, then we're not going to get kind of sucked into the attachment of everything, because that's very draining on our energy to do that. It doesn't mean we don't keep our, beliefs that are true for us, right? But beliefs can always change as we get new information, or we can see things in different ways. There's perspectives are always, if you look at like God or the universe as a center point, there's a gentleman named Matthias de Stefano. He talks about this as if you think of the universe like a sphere and God is a center point, everything else outside of that center point is a perspective. And the center point is the only spot where you can see all the way around in all perspectives, right? Every point outside of that is a different perspective. It's a unique one point perspective, right? And if we get stuck in one, we never can kind of come back home again to where, and home is really where the heart is. Home is that unconditional, compassionate space, right? Yes. So it's good to not stay locked into things and be open to more information coming in. And just know we don't see the whole picture. We probably never will, because we're human. And that's okay. But I hope that's helpful to people. But I know that that's very much what they're wanting to share with us. So I hope that resonates with somebody here, and it will help us move forward.
It's a beautiful, timely message in the time with all the politics and things going on. And what you're saying is it's perfect. Thank you for bringing through that message from Spirit for us.
There's always hope. There always is, right? And there's always so much more good in the world than there is what we call bad. We just don't get to see it very often. There's beautiful people doing all kinds of good things all over the place to help, to help the environment, to help animals, to help each other. And we just don't get to see that many instances of it. So we have to know it's out there. People are basically good. We all have good hearts. We all have beautiful souls. So just don't lose that. Don't lose your hope.
Absolutely. And what you said about that things happen I'm paraphrasing, that things happen for a reason and we don't always know what the reason is. The first thing that popped into my head is like 9/11. And there's a lot of the COVID thing. You know what I'm saying? And these are things that there's a bigger picture. I'm going to let you speak on this. I'm going to throw it out to you.
Yeah. A lot of times these are meant to bring people together. And now with the COVID thing, you're like, I'm not seeing people come together. I'm seeing people go farther apart. But let's keep waiting. Let's just keep waiting and seeing. But what I have gotten about that, the first couple weeks when COVID hit, people got really nice to each other. I don't know if you noticed that. If you went to the store and people just being a little extra nice. I did notice it, and I noticed it after 9/11 too. What that is everyone was kind of scared, but they were all scared together, right? And when big things happen, when big things happen, either to us or people around us or in a collective manner like that, it's very sobering. It brings you way into the present moment where what all that is important is your health, your family, the people you love, your friends. And all of those extra little external situations become very much smaller, all of your other problems. Now, of course, things kind of blew up after that because people were home alone with their thoughts. And you can imagine what that does when they don't have the distractions anymore. But that's a process that needs to be had, okay? So I'm feeling very much with the COVID thing what they're saying is stay in the present moment. So every time you feel your mind and your thoughts getting upset about things, you come back, wait a minute, how much energy is worth spending on that situation? How much time and energy do I want to put into that? Okay, and I just heard a pop on my ceiling, okay? Because we don't know how many tomorrows we have. Life is precious. Every day is a gift to us. Sorry. You know? So that's really helped me because I have a very active mind and it wants to think about things and analyze them to the nth degree. And then I go, no, wait a minute. What's really important? And I look around my family, my pets, you know, my home, you know, a flower in my backyard just brought me beauty. That was a miracle of life that nature brought us, you know? So that I really feel like the more we can stay in the present moment, stay grounded in our bodies, tell people we appreciate them,
Yes. Yes.
appreciate everything we have, because we just don't know. Everything is kind of impermanent and flexible. We just don't know what the next day will bring. And so stay in this day. And then when you get your next day, that's a gift. And you say, thank you, I got this new day. And so thank you, Spirit.
Beautiful message. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank
You
you.
are amazing. And I am so happy that you accepted my invitation to be my guest today. And I hope
It's an
to work with
honor.
you again. Thank you so much. I just love you. I think you're
I appreciate the time. Thank you, Megan.
my pleasure. And thank you all for joining us today. Join me next Sunday. I have another amazing guest. We'll talk about that later. Right now, let's just bask in the energy of Jennifer. And I love you guys. The replay is on YouTube, and we will see you soon. Namaste.